Welcome to the Legal Survival Show. I'm attorney and law professor James Hirsen, and each week, as you know, we have a different kind of talk show designed to bring you information that you really don't hear other places, to help you understand the legal issues that are out there, the legal issues of the week, bringing the law to your everyday life. And boy, oh boy, today we have a show. Now, this is brutal. I have to warn you. I mean, this is grisly, the show that's coming up, because it deals with a doctor in Pennsylvania who is an abortion doctor who is on trial for murder. And it's not every day that we hear the media use the term babies in describing the deaths of young ones in an abortion clinic, but that's exactly what's happening. You've got to stay tuned. Meanwhile, when you're listening, if you have comments or questions, you can reach us by leaving a message toll-free at 888-260-4460. That's toll-free, 888-260-4460. Also, you want to visit our website. That's www.legalsurvivalshow.com. legalsurvivalshow.com. This is a radio show that deals with legal issues, but it's for general educational purposes, to give you general information, a general understanding of the law, not specific legal advice. And we're not creating some kind of attorney-client relationship, although we have a radio relationship. This information is critical for people, particularly people of religious faith, and we are blessed to be on a station where religious faith is important. KBRT 740 AM, a station dedicated to the truth. And here we're free. We're free to talk about the truth, to acknowledge our Creator. And we know that He has told us in His Word what He thinks about the life issue. So please stay tuned. This is coming up shortly. This amazing story that was not covered by the mainstream media that they're just starting to get interested in. Don't go away. This is James Hirsen for the Legal Survival Show. Remember to visit our website, legalsurvivalshow.com. That's legalsurvivalshow.com. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
James Hirsen will be right back with more of the Legal Survival Show.
Here at the Legal Survival Show, we love our listeners, and we hope you love us. Help keep us on the air. I mean, it's a public service, this program is, of the nonprofit Justice and Freedom Fund. If you visit the website at legalsurvivalshow.com, that's legalsurvivalshow.com, click the tab on the top of the page that says Donate. Now, that's where you can support our show. You can make a one-time donation or become a regular supporter. Any help you can provide is greatly appreciated. And check the site often for special free information and gifts. Help us continue bringing the show into your homes and workplaces by visiting legalsurvivalshow.com, legalsurvivalshow.com, or you can call toll-free 888-260-4460. That's 888-260-4460. Well, welcome back. This is James Hirsen with the Legal Survival Show. And as we promised, we have something so important for you and your family. It's something that you won't hear other places, at least not this way. And it relates to the law. So let's get to it immediately.
The legal issue of the week.
Yeah, the legal issue of the week this week deals with a murder trial. We're talking about a doctor, Dr. Kermit Gosnell. He's on trial, charged with the murder of 7 babies and the murder of a woman, one of his patients he's treating at a clinic. Now, when you realize we're talking about an abortion clinic, and the babies, according to the allegations, we have to say that, were born alive during the process of being aborted at the clinic. This is often called a botched abortion. This clinic has been described by those few who have reported about it as a house of horrors, filled with stray cats, animal waste, with scores of fetuses piled in a freezer, with jars of feet. The prosecutors say that it was a routine drug raid where they found something that looked like a nightmare. This doctor has been charged with the murder of a woman during a botched abortion, as well as the murder of 7 babies that were born alive. Now, those that did report it summarized it this way.
Our buried lead. This is a story that we think is not getting enough attention. We covered this case when it began in March, and now after a week of horrifying testimony, we're coming back to it. A warning to viewers, the details can be a little gruesome. It was a scene the Philadelphia District Attorney called a house of horrors. Blood-stained blankets, expired drugs, dirty surgical equipment, a horrible stench clinging to the air. We're talking about the abortion clinic where Dr. Kermit Gosnell allegedly killed babies who had survived illegal late-term abortions, and also where a woman allegedly died of a botched painkiller injection.
This is Jake Tapper, whose voice you heard, who used to be with ABC, is now with CNN. And this Dr. Gosnell, this abortion, I hate to call him a doctor, now charged with 8 counts of murder. Prosecutors claim that Dr. Gosnell plunged scissors into the necks of 7 viable babies, children, cut their spinal cords when they were alive. So he is charged with murder in each of those 7 cases, and the 8th count is the death of a pregnant woman, and he could get the death penalty if found guilty. Now, we know this is a country where you are innocent until proven guilty. The prosecutor has a very high burden. You've heard these words if you've watched crime shows. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. But what kind of evidence could they possibly have? Well, a reporter gives us a clue.
There are any number of witnesses, most of them former employees of Dr. Gosnell's clinic, who say they saw late-term abortions being done. They saw fetuses, babies that were moving, breathing after the procedure, and that those babies were killed.
You know, this is a situation where they managed to get the evidence from people that were working for this butcher doctor. An unlicensed Pittsburgh doctor, his name was Stephen Massoff, he said he couldn't get a medical residency in the United States. He went to medical school in Grenada. He started working for this guy, Gosnell, as a backup plan after spending 6 months being a bartender. He testified that he killed 2 babies by snipping their spinal cords, as he said this Gosnell guy taught him to do. Another unlicensed doctor from Louisiana, Eileen O'Neill, had given up her medical license in 2000, and she continued working for Gosnell, and she became upset at the line of people who came to the clinic for painkillers and was angry that the doctor was not helping her regain her license. These allegations have stunned the community. This is an established clinic operating for more than 30 years, drawing patients from across the country. The grand jury report describes this clinic with furniture and with blankets stained with blood. It said the clinic reeked of urine, that feces were everywhere. Cats were allowed to roam and defecate freely in a medical clinic. The real business of the clinic was not health. It was profit. It was a prescription mill by day an abortion mill by night. And the employees of this abortion mill didn't just give information to patients, but they pushed patients into having abortions.
When I got pregnant again, I went to the clinic and I asked them, I said, is it okay that I get, another abortion? Fine. They even had this woman sit down with me and she told me that women in Brazil have at least 21 abortions. After she had coached me into believing that that was the norm, I would say the next 14 years, within that time, I had 8 abortions. 8.
That voice you heard is a patient of Dr. Gosnell at his clinic, describing the kind of counseling that persuaded her to have more abortions. These kind of abortions that they would perform were illegal abortions, very late-term abortions. And they looked at this as an opportunity. And you would think, when there's an unlicensed doctor, there are untrained aides working in this gruesome work, and when a grand jury report says that throughout the clinic there are jars and bags and plastic jugs containing the remains of children, that it would be covered widely. And yet it wasn't. And I'll explain why coming up, so you don't want to go away. If you have any questions or comments, call our toll-free number, leave a message, 888-260-4460. You can find out how to contact us at LegalSurvivalShow.com, LegalSurvivalShow.com. This is James Hirsen with the Legal Survival Show. We'll be back in a moment.
Don't forget to visit LegalSurvival.org. James Hirsen will be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
Here at the Legal Survival Show, we love our listeners. We hope you love us too. This radio program is a public service of a nonprofit organization. So go to the website at LegalSurvivalShow.com. That's LegalSurvivalShow.com. Click the tab on the top of the page. It says the word donate. That way you can make a one-time donation or become a regular supporter. Any help you can provide is greatly appreciated. Or you can call toll-free at 888-260-4460. That's 888-260-4460. This is the Legal Survival Show with James Hirsen, and what we've been talking about is Dr. Gosnell, an abortion doctor who is charged with 8 counts of murder. Prosecutors charged that he plunged scissors into the necks of 7 babies, cut their spinal cords, terminated their life. He's also charged with murder and the death of a pregnant woman, his patient, and he could get the death penalty. And it was covered by some broadcast media.
What's happening out there?
And this is what's happening. Here's a problem. When you have this kind of house of horrors, as the grand jury report described it, how in the world could it not be front page? How in the world could it not be covered by everyone in the media? Now, there were a couple of examples of television media where the case was mentioned.
One by one, witnesses are sharing horror stories in the trial of a Philadelphia abortion provider.
An abortion doctor in Philadelphia is accused of killing babies after birth.
Now, despite this gory and what would be sensational, according to most in the press, that we have tabloid press that cover everything that's bloody, for some reason, the national coverage was not there for the longest time, even to the point where media critic Howie Kurtz commented on it.
Well, the critics are right. The horrifying crimes that a Pennsylvania abortion doctor is accused of committing haven't gotten enough national media coverage. Kermit Gosnell is on trial for allegedly running a house of horrors, storing all kinds of mutilated fetuses, some of which were brutally killed.
And you wonder why. Why would the media not cover this? Well, it's because looming over it like a storm cloud is the debate over abortion. I mean, this clearly illustrates the brutality of abortion. And it also illustrates that it's taking human life. And unfortunately, we have a media which is filled with a lot of people who are supporters of so-called pro-choice points of view at any cost. Now, it seems to me that even people who claim to be pro-choice would still want to cover this, but it extends throughout not just the mainstream media, according to Howie Kurtz, but even the conservative media.
MSNBC, like Fox, has done a few stories. CBS and ABC carried evening news segments back in January, but there hasn't been nearly enough on the trial, almost nothing in the Washington Post, not enough in the New York Times. Perhaps the mainstream press is less attuned to a story that casts a shadow on abortion, but the conservative media didn't do much either.
You know, so we're talking about the media as a whole. And now, thanks to emails, to Twitter, to Facebook, the social media, to USA Today columnist Kirsten Powers, who's also a Fox News contributor, to articles that were in publications like the USA Today, The Atlantic, Get Religion. All of a sudden, there is more coverage. This is a situation where there's a trial that's expected to last possibly a month or longer. The guy who's on trial, Dr. Gosnell, if convicted, gets the death penalty. It's as big a case as ever could be. But yet, the media had to be shamed into covering it. And the issues in the case, have generated a trial, as we've talked about, with these grisly, horrible aspects to it. But it's a murder trial. But it's a serious murder trial because of the deplorable conditions, because we're talking about the lives of 7 babies, because we're talking about the media using the term babies, most of them, because they were breathing, living children. Now, this brings up a very important issue. Children of botched abortions. What is a botched abortion? It means an abortion doctor is trying to terminate a life and accidentally delivers a live baby. And the question of what should be done in that circumstance will chill you in the next segment, because in Florida, they passed a bill in the state legislature which would provide medical care to babies who are born alive after a failed or botched abortion. And you will not believe the response of a representative of Planned Parenthood. This is James Hirsen with the Legal Survival Show. You may have questions or comments. You can call toll-free, leave a message at toll-free 888-260-4460. You can also call that number if you want to support this listener-supported show, and you can visit our website at LegalSurvivalShow.com. We'll be right back.
It's the Legal Survival Show with James Hirsen.
Here at the Legal Survival Show, we love our listeners. We hope you love us too. This radio program is a public service of a nonprofit organization. So go to the website at LegalSurvivalShow.com. That's LegalSurvivalShow.com. Click the tab on the top of the page. It says the word donate. That way you can make a one-time donation or become a regular supporter. Any help you can provide is greatly appreciated. Or you can call toll-free at 888-260-4460. That's 888-260-4460. This is James Hirsen with the Legal Survival Show. We've had a brutal show dealing with this Dr. Gosnell murder trial. And if you have questions or comments on this issue or anything else on your mind, or you want to support the show, you can call toll-free 888-260-4460. Leave a message. It's toll free, 888-260-4460. There's other ways to contact us. Ask James at legalsurvival.org. You can go to the website at legalsurvivalshow.com. All run together, legalsurvivalshow.com. And, we have to explore this question of what happens when a baby is born during a failed abortion.
The legal issue of the week.
But to refresh our memory, look, we've been talking about this terrible, brutal murder trial of Dr. Gosnell that's taking place in Pennsylvania. This guy had an abortion clinic that the grand jury report described as a, quote, house of horrors, close quote, with scores of fetuses in the freezer, with unlicensed people performing without adequate sanitation, with cats running around with feces everywhere. It's unbelievable. And this clinic went on for years and years, and they didn't even inspect it. Nobody knew about it. But let's refresh our memory with that report from Jake Tapper.
Our buried lead. This is a story that we think is not getting enough attention. We covered this case when it began in March, and now after a week of horrifying testimony, we're coming back to it. A warning to viewers, the details can be a little gruesome. It was a scene the Philadelphia district attorney called a house of horrors. Blood-stained blankets, expired drugs, dirty surgical equipment, a horrible stench clinging to the air. We're talking about the abortion clinic where Dr. Kermit Gosnell allegedly killed babies who had survived illegal late-term abortions, and also where a woman allegedly died of a botched painkiller injection.
So, the woman who died of the botched painkiller injection is kind of like a medical malpractice case that is so severe that it's murder. But when we talk about these babies, a born child accidentally occurring because an abortion failed. The abortion wants to terminate the life, and if they fail, the person's alive. Well, in Florida, they passed legislation that would provide medical care for these babies who are born. I mean, I have to tell you, this is the same kind of legislation that President Barack Obama refused to support during his time when he was a member of the Illinois legislature. And it mirrors a national law that President George W. Bush signed after a nurse exposed how her Chicago area hospital left babies to die in utility closets after these botched abortions. This pro-life measure ultimately cleared the House Criminal Justice Subcommittee in Florida and would require that medical care be given to newborns. I mean, I didn't think you have to have a bill for that. I wouldn't think that any doctor who took the Hippocratic Oath, who's dedicated to saving lives, seeing a breathing, crying child would think that there's room to take that life. But in this testimony that occurred, a representative from Planned Parenthood responded to questioning from a Florida legislature. The question was about this baby being born alive during a botched abortion, whether they should receive medical care. Now, this representative is Elisa Snow. She's a lobbyist with the Florida Planned Parenthood people, and she was testifying here. So I presume she's under oath. She's testifying. Now, she was prepared to come in, and one of the lawmakers asked her about Planned Parenthood's position if a baby is born as a result of a failed abortion.
It's just really hard for me to even ask you this question because I'm almost in disbelief. If a baby is born on a table as a result of a botched abortion, what would Planned Parenthood want to have happen to that child that's struggling for life? You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We believe that any decision that's made should be left up to the woman, her family, and the physician.
Okay, I just have to say, she is saying that here's this baby. It's alive. It's breathing. The decision she's talking about is the decision whether or not that child should live or die. Like the old Roman circus, thumbs up or thumbs down. It's the woman and her family decision. Decide if they put thumbs down, well, too bad for the baby. It's murder time. This is a representative of Planned Parenthood. I mean, and she said it again and again. Another lawmaker brought it up again and also made the point that the baby that's born alive would become a patient.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Along the same lines, you stated that that a baby born on a table as a result of a botched abortion, that decision should be left to the doctor and the family. Is that what you're saying?
It should. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That decision should be between the patient and the healthcare provider.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think that at that point, the patient would be the child struggling on a table. Wouldn't you agree?
You're recognized.
That's a very good question. I really don't know how to answer that. I think, I would be glad to have some more, conversations with you about this.
She doesn't know how to answer it. Now, you're in a room, there's a child struggling for life. You're in the field of medicine. You don't know how to answer that? I know how to answer that. You save the life. We believe in life. We know that life is a gift from the Creator. This is James Hirsen. I want to thank all of you for listening to the Legal Survival Show this week. And I urge you to go to our website, LegalSurvivalShow.com. Support this program. Keep it on the air. Also, if you have questions or comments, or you'd like to support the program, you can call our toll-free number. That's 888-260-4460. Toll-free, 888-260-4460. We'll be here each week at this time, bringing you justice with a capital J.